Hi everyone, my name is Ann. Thanks so much for joining me on Art on the Creek. We're in my home studio in Parker, Colorado, and I am very excited that you're here today. It's my birthday week, and I want to share with you right now on this review one of the things that is my absolute all-time favorite art supplies. It involves watercolor, it starts with an A, it ends with an O, and it's made in Assisi, Italy. If you haven't guessed yet, it is the Gallo Signature 36 set, brand new palette. We're going to review it today and we are going to have a lot of fun. Are you ready? Let's go see these absolutely gorgeous paints. Oh my gosh, you guys, hi, I am so excited. Okay, so you know it's a good day when you get a text on your phone that says DHL will deliver your package soon. You know, I never enter any contests online, and for some reason, I do follow Gallo. I love them. I've used their paints many times before. I entered a contest on their Instagram page. So Gallo is not sponsoring me to do this video. This is just all completely on my own. I want to be very clear about that. I'm so excited. So I entered this contest, and what it was, you know, tag a couple of friends and say what two colors are your favorite colors. And I said Hokkaido orange and Yinmin blue, which that is true. They are my two favorite colors, and I'm so impressed with all of these pigments. I won. I won the contest. They did a random drawing. And out of 2,000 some entries, my name was chosen. So I won. I can't believe it. I never win anything. I won. I'm so excited. So I want to share these with you. Up in the right-hand corner here, I'll be sure and put a link to the other reviews that I've done about Gallo, and I will be sure and put links to everything in the description, because this is a company, they're in Assisi, Italy, which I told you, they're honey-based watercolors. Everything is handmade. This is the Signature 36 set. Every batch of paint is made from premium pigments and hand poured into pans, and they have these Tintoretto brushes that they feature. Now the brushes are also made in Italy, and this particular one that they've included is a traditional mop brush. It's their 1407 series, which is a Kazan synthetic squirrel or synthetic Kazan squirrel. And they are absolutely lovely. Many of you already know that synthetic squirrel is my absolute favorite fiber to paint with, so I'm very, very pleased about that. Now let's see what else is in here. This block print is absolutely lovely. It is of the town Assisi, and I just love block print. I love the way that it's done, and I really want to do some on this channel. At any rate, the back of the card is so sweet. It says, "Dear Anne, congratulations on winning our October giveaway. Happy birthday." I did let them know it was my birthday this week. We are so excited for you to receive our newest palette, the Signature 36. They sum it up in a description that's far better than I could. A decisive and vibrant palette of brilliant single pigments and new exclusive secondary color blends. This collection of colors is at once clean and bright, granulating and deep. Happy painting and best wishes, the Gallo team. And I'm not going to take it out of there because I will end up tearing it or ruining it, and I don't want to do that. I think I'm going to put this in a frame and hang it in my studio. And then here in this little pack, I have a wonderful set of color swatch cards. These are so great. They come in 4 different patterns. And let me just count out how many are of each one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of each kind. So I've got 16 color swatches here. And let's open them up and I will show you what we've got. Here's the sample of the first style. Well, actually, I guess I should say I have 20 of them because there are 5. We're counting that first style too. Let's find out. This one here is chromatic scale type mixing, and so you can do all kinds of mixing around the wheel like that. And let's see, that one here is your basic mixing of values. You put your strongest pigments on the outside. It's like the one in the example there. And then you gradually get them lighter as you go toward the center. And then let's see, they've got the one there that I just set down is the circles. That is the primary mixing circle. And then in the center, that's how you get your dark tone by mixing them all together. The triangle is primary mixing triangle, same thing, different shape. And then of course you have the split primary mixing, which I'm so happy because I don't see that very often. And it's honestly my favorite way to make color wheels. I'm going to do this later off camera though, because I want to do it very, very neatly like the example, and I don't want to be flustered by trying to film it and getting it to look just right for you guys. So I'm going to do those later, and then I will I'll post them on my community page. So the linen bag that this comes in is handmade, and it is beautiful linen. It's just such a lovely way to keep the palette and keep it safe. Now this brush, let me show you the point on it, because it is really, really nice. I'm just going to get it wet so we can put that all together. Look at that. It literally comes to a hair point at the end. For me, that's important. I like having a brush that I don't have to change around. I like having a brush that I can use for everything. And when you get a brush like this that has a beautiful point, you're going to end up with a situation, you're going to end up with a situation where you don't have to change out the brush as often, and you can get that fine detail without having to switch from brush to brush. Now that's not always true for all things that you're painting, but in general, in the way I paint, really easy to do it that way. So the linen bag is lovely. We'll hang on to that. And these papers that they wrap the palettes in are delightful, and I save them. I'm one of those people that saves packaging because I like to find a way to reuse it or to see what I can do to reincorporate it somehow in my art. The palette is lovely. It's very high quality tin. It's black, and it has the Gallo logo sticker on the front. And we open it up. It has that thumb ring on the back that you can put your finger through to hold the palette in your hand as you're painting. And look how pretty. There's the brush that it comes with. Another brush. The one that I opened earlier was a size 2, and this one is a size 0. So let me see if I can get this open. I think that's going to require an X-Acto blade, so I'm going to work on that later. Let me set that aside for now. But here are the paints. These pigments are so stunning. I will list in the description what those pigments are if I can get a hold of that information for you. But let me show you how these are set in here. They're all half pans, and like I said, they're hand poured. And on the paper wrapper, let me get my glasses on so that I can see what I'm doing here. The information that you get is the color number 260. It is series 2, which is kind of their second generation, if I understand it correctly. The website, agallocolors.com, handmade in Italy. And the pigment number, there it is on the side, is a PW4, and it is a gum Arabic binder, but all of them are made with honey. And this is an actual swatch on here. So what you could do with this is you could just save these wrappers, but I'm going to go ahead and fill out the swatch. And then they handwrite on the pan what's in there. And of course you can add whatever information to that you like. But yeah, all of the pigment information is right here on these wrappers. So let me go ahead and get this all set up and opened up. And that way you don't have to see me struggle trying to open these things. They're really easy to open, but I've got pretty significant arthritis in my hands, and sometimes things like this are kind of difficult. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got just a couple left to do, and I kind of want to show you how this works. You just bend the tab back and lift that out. And then I've decided to just use an X-Acto knife and go down the side to open that up. Makes it easier for me. And I do save all those little wrappers. And then you bend that tab in, and then you can pop that pan right back in there. If your pans slide back and forth after you get them locked back into your palette, you can just use a little bit of double-sided tape or a magnet or some of that poster putty, anything like that, just to get it to hold still for you if that little shifting noise kind of drives you nuts. All right, so we've got this all set up here. Everything's nestled in there nicely. Let me clean up this little mess, and then we'll continue on. I am going to save all of these little wrappers. I think what I'm going to do is to put them in an additional reference chart so that I can look back and see if I, for some reason, happen to lose this chart that's in the palette here. So let's see, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 mixing wells. And for those of you who don't know, this inside portion comes out, and we have an additional 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 or so mixing wells. I think I counted that right. And your brush fits here. You can fit 2 brushes, another pencil, an eraser, whatever it is that you need to bring with you. Even though this is 36 paints, it's really pretty portable. It's not that big. It won't take up that much room. The one thing that I would definitely recommend, since these are honey-based watercolor, If you live in a humid environment, when you're done painting, make sure that you close this up after it has dried. I like to let it dry overnight, even here in Colorado in my dry climate. And I always keep these paints stored level. So if you're going to be keeping this in a backpack or something, make sure that it's completely dry before you close it, because I would hate for you to be in a hot and humid place and have these paints kind of just melt. Now, I'm not saying that they do that. I've never had that happen, but I have seen it happen to other artists who live in very hot and humid climates with honey-based watercolor. So it's not a fault, it's just because they re-wet so easily. Let's talk a little bit more about this brush. Now, for those of you who have never seen a traditional mop brush or a quill brush, they are sized differently. I'm not sure if mop and quill are exactly the same thing, but this one is a 0. So for those of you who are used to round brushes, you're going to notice that on the left is a 2 and the right is a 0. They're significantly larger than a round 2 or a round 0. Let me just show you here. This brush that I have on the right in my hand is a Princeton Aqua Elite number 8 round. So you can see it's about the same size as the 2 mop brush. Let's just see. Let me show you a couple of others so that you can see the difference here. Since it's an imitation squirrel fiber, though, it's going to act very, very similarly. You're going to get the same amount of feedback. But this Princeton is a Princeton Neptune, and I think that's a 10. And I think this next one here I'm going to pull out for you is a 12. So you can see the difference, and you can see how these are shaped and numbered just a little bit differently. So it's a 10 on the left, the 2 in the center, and then a 12 on the right. So just so you're aware when you're buying these brushes, if you're getting a 2 mop brush, don't think it's going to be really tiny. It's pretty significant in size. And the filaments are a little bit longer too. So they do hold a significant amount of pigment and water, and they are really delightful to paint with. And I really like how these are made. They're made very well, and have never had any problem with them at all. Now, unfortunately, I get off to a little rough start here on the swatching, and that is totally on me. I wanted to show you how the Chinese white is not an opaque pigment, and I ended up using a pen that wasn't quite dry, or it wasn't quite permanent, so it ended up turning kind of gray. So let me just skip past this part, and then we'll get to the swatching. I'll swatch that PW4, the Chinese white, out again at the end so that you can really see it. But just going through these real quickly, right at first here, we've got that Chinese white, titanium yellow hue, lemon yellow permanent, azo yellow gold, arancione, which is orange, Hokkaido orange, pyrrole orange, Medici red, ruby red. I gotta get ahead of myself here. That's the Medici red. Here's the ruby red. And then we have the alizarin crimson hue, followed by quinacridone magenta, and then a Pietro rosa, which is gorgeous. And then this next one I really like too. They call it Notturno, which is like nighttime. It looks a lot, reminds me a lot of Daniel Smith Moonglow. And then we have a quinacridone violet, a Tyrian purple, cerulean blue, which they got really well. It really looks good. And then their blue that they call azzurro, and then a phthalo blue red shade, periwinkle, yin min blue. We'll talk more about that one. Indanthrone blue, which is beautiful. It's so dark. I love it. And this harbor blue is another one of my absolute favorite ones. It's this one right here, that harbor blue. Followed by aquamarine, and then an ultramarine turquoise. And when we get to painting with these, you'll see the mixes that they create are just so clean and pure and vibrant. The first green is a fig green, followed by a phthalo green light, then spring green, and then we have a deep sea green, a forest green, which I love. The next one is dark forest, which I also love. And then olive green here, and now we're getting into the quinacridone gold, and a transparent red oxide. And then the browns, we've got a chromite brown and a sepia or sepia, however you like to pronounce that. And then finally, this last one is neutral tint. And when this paints out, you will see how completely neutral it is. And I'm thrilled because it doesn't pull toward the purple. A lot of neutral tints have a tendency to do that. And of course, you can account for that, but here we don't have to. Let me show you these close up. Look how vibrant, look how clear, how beautiful. They're just luminescent. The light truly shines through all of these pigments beautifully. They mix cleanly, they play on the paper so well together, but these swatches are just too small to see how beautiful these paints are, so let's get to painting. So the couple of things that I'm going to speed paint for you here in this video today both kind of have earth tones to them. And since I'm saving those color wheel swatch cards for a later date, let me just show you a rainbow mix here. So let's play a little bit. I'm going to go into, I'm just going to get my brush wet here, and let's just dive right in to this alizarin crimson hue. And look how easily they re-wet. I didn't have to wet any of those when I was swatching them, but look at how beautifully they paint out. Now this paper is 100% cotton. It's Meeden watercolor paper. Very, very affordable, easy to get, and really nice paper. I recommend it. It's got a nice texture on it. So it's really fun to use. You can do a lot of fun brush techniques on a paper that has some texture. And now let's paint out this Azo yellow gold, one of my favorite yellows. I think I'm just going to do a rainbow here for you so that you can kind of see how these paint out and how they blend together. Just, you can see the color just continues to go through the brush here, through our stroke as we go left to right. And then I've just got a wet brush and I'm mixing these together so that you can kind of see what color mix we have. I couldn't resist. I didn't want to fill in the swatch cards, but I do want to do a rainbow color mix for you here. Now here is this Yin Min blue. The blue that's in here, instead of ultramarine, it is a Yin Min blue, and I want to say it is PB86. It's very light fast, excellent light fastness. Look at how clear and rich this blue is, and you can definitely use it wherever you would use an ultramarine blue. It has wonderful granulation properties. The blue is very rich, very clear. It's very similar to ultramarine blue, but I really, really like using it. And you can see the mix that you get with that Azo gold is very similar to the mixes that you would get when using ultramarine blue. The next color that I'm going to put down is going to be more of that alizarin crimson, because I'm kind of wrapping this around as a complete circle here, only you've got it flattened out, kind of like a map of the globe. And I'm going to mix that Yin Min blue with this alizarin crimson hue, and you can see the beautiful purple that comes when these two are blended together. So these pigments are simply a delight to work with, and I hope that this little color blending has shown you just how beautifully things can granulate. Already you can see it coming through in the green there, and that orange mix is so bright and clear with that Azo gold. These pigments are just such a joy to work with. Well, my friends, I am seeing some white space on this paper, so let's keep playing. Let's fill it up a little bit. Let's see what this neutral tint has going for it. It is made from PBK7, PR122, and a PB153. It has excellent light fastness, and look at that beautiful gradient, and I love how neutral it truly is. Next we have the Notturno, and let me see if I can figure out what the pigments are on that one, because the print is pretty small on there and I can't read it. Here we go, I've got it on the website. It's a PB29, which is an ultramarine blue, a PR101, and a PV19. Also excellent light fastness, and it granulates so beautifully, and I've got those kind of blended together. Look at the granulation coming out there on that purple mix on the rainbow. And as this dries, we'll be able to see more and more. Right now, though, I want to go into the ultramarine turquoise, because I got a thing for turquoise. I have to tell you, it is an incredibly beautiful color. And this one mixes also a couple of pigments. This one mixes a PB29 with a PG7. PG7 is a really excellent mixer to have, and since this PB29 is definitely going to granulate, as is that one down there, oops, got a little bit of turquoise in there. Let's drop some water in and let's just really let these play. Now, you know, whenever you're working with pigments that granulate, the more water, the better. And actually, the more textured the paper, the better as well. So already you can really see that granulation start to come out. Now, the other one that I really want to play with just for a minute here is the quinacridone gold. That is another one of my absolute favorite colors. So let's grab some of that. It's a PY150, PR101, also with a PV19. And it also has excellent light fastness. So let's drop some of that in as well. And I'll also put a clean swatch of it over here on the side. Look how rich and beautiful that is. It's like having yellow ochre, only a very clear and luminescent version of it. That's why I like that one so much. And now onto the Hokkaido orange. This one was just such a thrill for me to see. It's a single pigment, PY216. And it is just so bright and so clear, and I truly love using it. Now this one at the bottom, this green here, actually I should say it's blue. It is in fact called Harbor Blue. PB15-3 mixed with a PBR8. Again, excellent light fastness. Look at that beautiful, deep, rich green. You could use that for pine boughs. You could use it for the sea. I think you have a complete, unlimited range of color combinations here. This would be anything you would need. This would be all you would need. If you were looking to start out as a watercolorist or give an incredibly beautiful gift to someone, this set would have every single corner of the color spectrum covered. As I'm painting this frog here, now this is greatly sped up. Like I said, the tutorial on this will be in a future video to come. But notice how these greens work seamlessly together to give this frog real dimension and form and shape. And I can use these wet into wet, damp into wet, dry brush techniques and just dropping pigment in, charging one pigment into the other. I can really have fun with these paints and they will do exactly what I ask of them. They have exactly the right amount of flow for the way that I like to paint. They don't get out of hand, you can still control them, but yet because of these pigment mixes in some of these paints, they will separate on their own and just become the multi-pigment beautiful granulators that some of them are. No way I can choose a favorite, but that neutral tint, I'm absolutely in love with it. I have many, many different neutral tints in my watercolors, and this one by far is not only the most neutral, but the easiest to use. It's definitely one that will enhance in addition to darkening the colors. It'll take it down to a lower value, but it'll also enhance it because when it separates into those pigments, it just makes a beautiful, beautiful dimensional play on your watercolor. Now I've got it completely dry and I'm going in and adding some high highlights with a white paint pen here. And everything I've done with this, including this, the ink at the end, was just completely easy to do. It was easy to lift. It was easy to add things in. Here's another painting I did. I wanted to do something to honor Emilia-Romagna, the area in Italy where my family is from. Now, I've never been to Italy, so I unfortunately don't have any photos of my own to share, but this one I found on Unsplash, this reference, and I loved the gestures in this sculpture of the statue, and I like the way that he was holding the book and talking. I'm sorry I don't know who this is or who the statue is of, but what I want to show you here is how the quinacridone gold and sepia can be used to paint a really nice rendition of sculpture. I love painting sculpture in watercolor. For some reason, I think the stone really comes to life if you replicate it in watercolor, and I have thoroughly enjoyed doing several paintings of sculpture in watercolor, and it's a really good way to practice monochromatic painting. And I don't know about you guys, but with the sheer brilliance of these Gallo watercolors, I can really see how it captures the light so beautifully, and it just really shines through in painting something inanimate like stone. And in this final demonstration of the paints, rather than to paint a flower, which I do want to do later on this month with these, I'm not quite sure what I want to paint yet, I decided that a lot of you might be getting ready for Christmas and you might be thinking, gosh, maybe I want to paint some Christmas cards. Well, this is a very easy way to do that. I'm going to create a wreath here using some of these beautiful green paints, and look how beautifully they pull out. They layer so well. This is something that I thought a lot of you would be able to do. It's very accessible, very approachable, and with these Gallo watercolors, it really does just give it that little extra something. Now, all of these paints are sold individually, and I did notice on their last release that they are going to be coming out with, or they did come out rather, with full pans. So whenever you purchase these Gallo watercolors, you're going to want to be sure and watch their newsletters, their Instagram, because they just do things in small batches and they produce them, they restock periodically, and when they restock, things get sold out very, very quickly. So I definitely recommend that you get on that website, get your email in there. So yeah, definitely get yourself set up for notifications so that you can know. Now, I don't want to give everybody this feeling of FOMO, like you're missing out, but I signed up initially just so I could kind of learn about the company and see what they make and what they do, and I was so impressed. Now, their watercolors are made from honey, but they put a lot more into it than just that. Their watercolors are crafted according to a traditional recipe of raw pigments, gum arabic, local honey, and rosemary essential oil molded by hand on a glass slab. So if you are one to make your own watercolors, that is exactly the same process you would use in your home. So these are definitely small batch. Honey is added to help the paints retain water and increase their longevity because honey, for those of you who didn't know it, has natural antibacterial properties. These paints are simply incredible, and it's just, the pans are hand poured. They just have a beautiful look to them. They just really look like they were made with care. And I don't know about you guys, but nowadays, to me, that means something in a product. I like to look for things that aren't mass produced and just made for the sake of being made. I like knowing that I'm using a product that was made with care and with knowledge. That's also really important, and these show that clearly tenfold. Okay, don't judge me for my lettering skills. I'm not very good at it, but that's just kind of my little play at how to write Buon Natale, Merry Christmas in Italian on this little card. I might turn this into a card for our family Christmas card this year. Not sure, but it was definitely fun to paint that little wreath. And now let's go ahead and I will slowly pan through the frog and the other paintings that I did so that you guys can really see how these paints work so well on this paper. They just really get together and play and separate so incredibly well. These paints rival the best paints that I have ever used in my life. And the wonderful thing about them is that you don't have to buy a whole set. You can buy just a little pan. You can experiment with just a small palette if that's what you want to do to get started in these. Or if you are looking for a gift for the artist who has everything, this would really be special. Even that, or some of these brushes are really nice. Now they have an awful lot of things on their website that aren't just paints too. You could probably find everything you would ever need. I mean, there are ceramic palettes, ceramic cups with little divots to hold your brush on, really beautifully handmade things. They've even got paper pads, journals to work in. So really everything you need right there on their website. I will put a link in the description below to the PDF color chart because the full range of watercolors is 108 colors, several shades and tones that I just haven't seen anywhere else, plus antique gold and bronze, both metallics. They do have several that granulate to varying degrees if that's something that interests you. And they're all rated on the blue wool scale. So you're going to get ratings of 1 to 8. Now, of those 108 colors, the vast majority of them are rated 8 on that blue wool scale. I only found a few that weren't. The one that was rated the number 4, and which is midway on the scale, and that's the Buckthorn Berry Green. It's a brand new shade. Of the set that I have here, they've got 3 of them that are rated 7 or 7-8 combo, and that's the Lemon Yellow, the Medici Red, and the Alizarin Crimson Hue. All of the rest in this set are rated number 8 for blue on the blue wool scale, which is the maximum amount of light fastness. And for those of you who are interested, I know there's been a lot of talk lately about 2 wonderful new shades, the Lapis Lazuli, it's not new, but the Lapis Lazuli or Lazuli, however you want to say that, and Dragon's Blood. And this company carries both of those as well. Now those are rated on the blue wool scale as 7 and 3 respectively, so use those however you will. Guys, Gallo, you cannot go wrong. I highly recommend them. Hope you have a chance to try some out, and thank you so much for hanging out with me this long. We will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye now.